It's not going to be easy to try to say this, but you're going to have people in your circle that's not going to understand where you're coming from. And specifically, I'm talking people who could be higher up than you. Maybe you might have been raised by them. You might have been in church with them. You might have been in business situations with them. But they're not always great. And I can tell you this specifically because in my childhood, and I'll be real authentic about it, I'm not going to talk trash to nobody about this, but I had a former leader in the church, at an old church I used to go to, who still keeps up with me to this day by my grandmother. And he told me, and he told my grandmother, when are you going to have a job? When is he going to have his first job? Where is his job at? This and that, this and that. When I worked my job at Cutco in 2025, I was going to sell him some knives. He said, you're always selling something. Really? If you're a pastor, why are you always questioning when I have my job? Then when I get a job, why are you saying I'm always selling something? If I'm working in sales or not, that shouldn't matter nothing. I got a job, right? But at the end of the day, you're probably looking here and saying, well, why are you looking for this validation anyway? That's the point. That's what I'm trying to say for you guys. And have you, I'm just asking, dealt with that certain person too in your life who was ahead of you? And you may have just thought, I gotta respect them, I gotta please them, I gotta do this. No. I'm not saying you should just be flat out rude. No, because I'm a believer in Christ. So, decency and order. But have a balance. Certain people you cut out. Certain people you don't let influence you. And that's what I came here to tell you today, is that in this conversation I'm having with you, viewer, some of your leaders are not right. And this could even go in political matters too. I'm not Democrat or Republican, so don't even think I'm getting there. No. Just some of our leaders are not right. And we have to stop trying to think that because they're this age or they have this much experience or they have this much degrees or this much accolades or skills that they're higher than us. No. Because the greatest individuals are made by character, heart, grit, determination, great leadership, great team ethic, great team leaderness, great team playerness. If you're none of those categories or more that I can't think of, then what are you as a leader? If you're just talking trash to people, if you're trying to look good on this image, but then someone else already said that you're looking bad on here, not the ones who falsely accuse you, I'm talking about the ones who are really talking trash on you for what you're doing and you're trying to hide it. What type of leader are you? What type of follower are you to even follow that leader? And I'm talking about any type of situation now. Business, pastors, jobs, whatever it is. Or should I say church, school, jobs, that make it more categorized. Because I once dealt with that too. I once dealt with other leaders too in the church who scammed me when it came to business stuff, doing social media work, building websites. Oh, we don't want it this way, we don't want it that way. And I had one particular church leader who may have questioned what I was doing at a young age. Just doing all this YouTube, having all this knowledge of what I'm doing. Not necessarily being doubtful, but just questioning, you got this, right? You got this, okay? Yes, I do. And no matter where you come from, no matter the age, particularly for my young people here, we're going to have leaders that's going to question, well, what are you doing? You're supposed to do this at X amount of age when it's not. You do what works for you and see where you can learn from that experience if it's the right path. Because once you're 18 years old, and hopefully you have a financial aspect coming in as like a job or something, but if not, once you're 18 years old, you have the authority to do what you want to do, especially people who don't even live in a house with you. Those people should be even irrelevant out your own thoughts. Take in what's needed, but don't make them your God. Make God your God if you're a believer of Christ. Have faith that, despite what's going on, it will still work out. because you're young. For my older folks, you may have already known these people for years. You might be 40, 50. They might be 80, 90. If they're doing something that's not right, do not follow them up. Go your own path. Get out that coat thinking mentality. Be real. Think for you. And make sure it's working in a practical step. Because as we forget sometimes, you can take the advice, you can do what you want to do, but where's the practicality out of it? Take the practicality of what you're doing in life. Young people, older people, take the practicality. And once you do that, the results will come in. And then when you have the results, you'll be proud of what you've done. Or either you'll be disappointed in what you've done and maybe relearn and do something else. That's the process. That's why listening to your leaders isn't always right. It can be good sometimes, depending on how hard is the character. But if their heart and their character isn't right, you don't even listen to them at all. It's just like listening to a prophet. I had a prophet that prophesied in my life when I was 10 years old or 9 in 2015. And his prophecy was a lie. It was inaccurate. It was partially right, but it was inaccurate. It was negative. But then 10 years later, I had a prophet in 2025 who prophesied in my life, saying I'd be doing kingdom work, kingdom things. Not trying to make it motivational fluff, but that I would be going through some things, but I'll be mostly doing great things. And that's what I want you to know. Discern the difference between a good leader and a bad leader. Find out if they have good qualities or bad qualities. Because just because they have done this much of academics, this much of skills, or they're in the church, does not mean that they're perfect. Even though we live in a post-2026 world where we're used to people being inauthentic or scams on YouTube, lies, and all this stuff, we sometimes forget when we're in person. It's easy to point fingers online, but in person is always a difficulty. Why is that? I have to wonder that myself too, still. I'm being for real. I'm not sitting here just to try to motivational talk you. I'm being real because I'm a 20-year-old who actually experienced this and seen other people experience this too. Especially as a young African-American male. Let's just be real too. In our community, sometimes we listen to certain leaders and certain leaders aren't right. Especially when it's in the church. I'm not trying to talk trash on the church because God is first. But there has to be, like I said, once again, a person of character that's biblically accurate to what it displays in leadership. Then that goes outside this church. If they have a good heart from that Bible in any form of life, that's really good. You're not going to have good people, of course. You're going to have to go through certain things to grow and evolve and deal with negative people. I'm not saying that you should avoid them. I'm just saying that don't let them get to you. Because some of them can be a stepping stone for you to get bigger. But some of them can just be people you need to generally avoid. Which leads me to you with this question. Who in your life is still leading you, but not leading you up, but leading you astray? Interesting question, right? Subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Hit the like button if you can, wherever you're watching this or listening. My name is Brendan Brown, 4-time author, podcast host, content creator, motivational speaker. You can support all my stuff in the link down below. My books on Amazon. Donate to me on if you want to. Do Cash App. However it is. It's a pleasure getting to meet y'all. It was a pleasure getting to speak with y'all. Thank you.